This is part two of our video, the Q&A section with Michael Robinson, CEO Ynvisible. I think your market is kind of broken up into two, like you can break your market up into lots of different segments, but there's kind of two ways of looking at it. One is a replacement as a less expensive alternative to LED systems. It's like, hey, we can do, instead of a dollar a unit for in a birth testing, pregnancy testing kit, you can do a cheaper version of that. And then there's whole new market categories where I don't need, it's sort of, without sounding hyperbole here, like the early days of the internet. Like nobody thought all this stuff you could do with it. And it's like, okay, you've got this sort of e-ink stuff. What could you could do a game board, like you were saying, it's a chessboard now, then a backgammon board, and then Monopoly, and you control it like that. And I think this is a real challenge for you. There are so many opportunities where you have to balance sort of the long-term, like, hey, you've got this, like I could have wallpaper that's dancing lights and so forth, or I can just put a new display on a pregnancy test. How are you managing sort of the near-term opportunities to gain traction and to prove your product versus like these big sky, change the world opportunities out there? And I think like I'm starting my own business here, and like managing those different opportunities and filling that pipeline with real opportunities that can turn into real revenues that investors care about. Sort of wide-ranging question there, but can you sort of talk about those opportunities and how you're balancing sort of near-term opportunities, which are maybe a little smaller, but they show traction and legitimacy, versus the big blue sky stuff?
Absolutely. Thank you, Martin, for that question. And it is kind of specific, but it's also kind of endemic to this space, right? In terms of emerging technologies, you know, how do you knock down the biggest opportunity or opportunities? And one of the ways that we're doing it, and I referenced this in the last presentation, is we're making true on our promises. And I really applaud the guidance and the forethought of our previous CEO, Yanni Michael Kusisto, who is also has stayed on board, and he's helping us with our venturing activity, which is really looking out to 2025 in terms of what are the emerging technologies that are value added to our solution, that are value added to displays and our technical capabilities that can deliver high value applications in the future. And what Yanni Michael committed to in 2019 and early 2020 was to grow our sales and marketing effort and pipeline. And we did that in two ways. We acquired Consensum. We acquired the production capability of Consensum through a share swap. And we bought on Tommy Hoagland, our VP of Sales and Marketing, as the lead there. And so what we were able to do was a turn on the capability, the capacity from a production standpoint. And then in early 2020, we engaged with RDOT and bought on their customer list, effectively transforming 150 pre-qualified leads right into that pipeline. And so being able to do that, we really do have a robust pipeline of opportunities. And I think to the core of your question, well, how do you knock those down, right? How do you find the best opportunity? Now, I'm going to kind of pull from my well. This is where the transformation comes in, is the ability, one, to very quickly visualize solutions that are value added for our customers. So we listen. And that's important, to listen to our customers and really understand what's important to them. And then to embody that very, very quickly. And I showed some kind of examples. I call these kind of tip of the iceberg examples, because there's a whole lot that I can't show that's confidential. But to say that our capability, and I think this is one of our, you could say it, unfair advantages, is that we have an excellent design engineering and development team in an emerging technology space who can very quickly put solutions together that are feasible for our customers. And so what I like to do is lead with the solution, because the solution, that leading with the solution allows us to very quickly get heads nodding or heads shaking, right? And so we can move to the next. And so in a lot of ways, that's a venture-like approach. You know, we know we're going to need to knock on 10 doors to get one second date. And that allows us to do that quickly and efficiently and effectively, right? To create those solutions, deploy those solutions, and see, okay, which one is making sense for our customers? And we're starting to do that more broadly. So the next set of commitments that we're making is really against that sales and marketing effort, getting those solutions into our sales team's hands, getting them in front of more and more customers. So that's investing in our advertising and our marketing. And that's really what's going to help us kind of clear the field, if you will, for the best opportunities.
So in terms of your resources that you're putting into your sales and marketing, are they in terms of trying to get some quick wins here, or are you more like winding up, and bad analogy, sorry, like winding up for some big, are you trying to get a couple, like save your powder for a bunch of really big home runs where, I don't know, you get put on a sticker on every box of shoes by a big multinational company, or on every drug bottle of a big multinational company, or you sign up companies like Pickletech, which pickleball is the fastest growing sport around, but it's no global multinational drug company or consumer products company as well. How are you, where is that focus? Or are you a bit along that whole spectrum?
We're a bit along the whole spectrum, but that's a great question, you know, and how we use that powder. And part of that conservation effort is one, deploying design and innovation tools that allow us to knock down opportunities very quickly, visualize and knock down those opportunities. Forming partnerships are critical to enabling that access to scale. So as a customer, you know, from the other side of the table, my question for emerging technologies was always, well, how can I scale my solution, right? Because I'm not going to, if I'm coming from a Colgate-Palmolive or a L'Oreal, I'm not going to change my line for a new emerging technology per se. I'm going to want to test that in market. I'm going to want to move quickly through a partner who can put those solutions together for me as best as possible. So that's another vector for our opportunities. And to the core of your question, absolutely. We need a mix, and this is where we're engaging, a mix of high visibility opportunities, right? And this is why I love smart play, because those are the opportunities like exactly, you know, digital die or scoreboards or interactive wallpaper, right? That can be easy to deploy while opening up the visibility of the technology. And as we work with our health wellness customers, we're looking for, you know, both short and long-term wins. So things that are maybe class 1 exempt. So this is, you know, getting into the hands of consumers much faster, you know, getting around FDA certification, right? For that's very long lead time applications, but finding that high value customer experience application, like pharmaceutical drug labels that can give not only the benefit of being able to deploy the technology on a product level, high volume, right, packaging level, but also can add an immense amount of value to the customer experience the user experience in compliance. And as you might be tracking some of the investors, our investors might be tracking the developments in the American healthcare sector. Really outcomes are really the focus of insurance companies, major insurance companies and finance around healthcare. So how do you help Americans, how do you help people stay compliant on their medication regimes? Hugely valuable.
Is when you're, and I'm guessing that when you make a pitch to companies, you just get some straight out no's, but I'm sure a lot of people are intrigued and see all the opportunities that exist for it. And I'm guessing maybe they're like, well, that's really cool. Let's discuss this more. Let's sort of, are they, do they view it as like a technical risk or just a market adoption risk to it, or just that it's like sort of a new type of internet? They don't quite know how to deal with it. What are their, I don't know if they're pushing back or their areas of resistance to some of the solutions you put forward or the ideas?
Oh, yeah, Martin, that's an excellent question. And I really look at this, and our organization looks at this in 4 dimensions. We're really looking for that balance of business, right? When we say, really the opportunity is we're helping end customers make $1 or save $1, right? Ideally both. So making $1, making another $1 is really the emerging application. Is what can be differentiated and value added that they have not been able to unlock. So how do we help our customers unlock new products and services or save? So how can we help our customers beat incumbent prices or get value out of existing products or services? We were talking with a very large company in the actually to your audience in the investment space, and actually they're a large broker of information and data in the investment space. And one of their products, they've had to invest a lot of time, energy, and finance in just making do with the incumbent technology, which is an LCD screen. And a lot of money has gone into, and thinking has gone into, well, how do I protect that through the user experience? And when we shared our display, they immediately said, oh no, we spent so much time and effort, and look what we can do now. This is something that can actually work with the consumer experience, and those costs can now go away. Those supply chain, those material, the manufacturing costs can go away. The second part is user experience. As I said, it's that intersection of user experience. And again, this is close to my heart from my background in design and innovation. Without a compelling consumer experience and value proposition, it's very hard to find the fit. So it's important for us to embody our technology in solutions that consumers and customers understand. They say, yes, that makes sense. It's a form factor. In early on in my career, I had a very wise advisor that said, don't try to do 2 weird things at a time, just one, right? So what we try to do is make sure our technology is relative to that end consumer experience, because if we nail that customer comes along and says, absolutely, that consumer, I've been able to test that idea and that makes sense. That solves a burning need. The third part is technology and technology readiness, and the technology field in general. So the Internet of Things has been a promise to us for the past 20 years. Our milk carton will be speaking to us. right? Now, necessarily, do people want their milk carton speaking to us? Maybe not necessarily. But what I can tell you is that very large consumer electronics companies are shifting their focus from appliance sales to looking at individual device or product or packaging based applications. Because what they're seeing here is, well, maybe less and less consumers are buying houses. Not only do they not, and also don't have as much space for large appliances. So maybe the opportunity is to look at the products as devices more as services, right? So being able to unlock services and unlock the data incumbent within those product interactions. So again, it's more of a technology ecosystem play, but definitely a space that we see emerging and that we're having active dialogue on. In terms of technology readiness, we are playing with a technology that's actually over 100 years old, but we're practicing it in a very new way. We're converting that technology in a very new way with partners like Rise University. So Rise University is really on that leading edge of electrochromism and electrochromic technology. And what we do in partnership is we explore what's not only on that lab bench, but what's near ready to commercialize. And really that partnership is excellent because it allows us not only access and visibility to that technology, but also that broader ecosystem of partners and partnership. So the Nordics, the Nordic region, in particular, Sweden and the Linköping, Norrköping area is a very robust center for printed electronics and electrochromic technology. And then the last layer there is adaptability. So what we're always looking for is how adaptable, how future-proof is our technology. And this is where we're looking at the ability to evolve our displays. So what else can our displays do to bring value to the customer and user experience? But also how adaptable is that technology to shifts in the market, more emergence of cell or integrated technologies, augmented reality, everything from the emergence of 5G and ultra low Bluetooth to augmented reality, to also shifts in sustainability. So how adaptable can our technology be for an environment, a place where electronics are expected to not degrade our environment, to maybe have a net positive effect on our environment? So those are kind of the 4 dimensions that we play with in our interfaces with our customers to really hone in on those value-added solutions that they can deploy and bring to market.
All right. Your most recent news, or the most recent news, is recently you raised $12 million. Could you talk a bit about that? I guess institutional investor or investors put that money in, and then that's a good chunk of change in your jeans here, especially with a bit of you raised not too long ago. Prior to that, you raised some money, so you've got a big, I don't know, war chest, or you got a bunch of cash. What are the plans, your use of proceeds with that, and I guess with this opportunity that this cash gives you guys, lots of flexibility, is that M&A or new product launches, or can you just talk about the big raise, and then what kind of use of proceeds and what kind of news to expect coming out of that?
Oh, thank you, Martin. Exactly that. It was a quite fortunate opportunity for us to engage with AGP in this raise, and excellent through AGP's excellent work and great service, we were able to realize that 12 million Canadian raise. Now, where does that go? And it's, again, I reference where our investments are going, and that's first and foremost expanding our US business, expanding our global business, but in particular in the US. We're seeing our customers really coming from the United States. And in order to engage with those customers, we really need to establish our presence and visibility in the United States. So that's the first investment for us. Technology out licensing and in licensing. So we have the ability to not only out license with our partners like Rise, out license our technology to distribute the technology, but also to in license technologies that we see as value added to our innovation pipeline and our products. And so that's another set of investments. Actually, our internal team is working diligently on the pipeline of displays moving forward. We're going to be sharing some news very soon around the next generation of our displays that really speak to our customers' ability to integrate them with their brands and to potentially provide higher functionality and interactivity with whole solutions. So very excited to kind of speak to that. But really, you know, a big part of this raise is focused on securing that strategic investment with our partners, as I mentioned, being able to not only have excellent conversations with strategic investors, gaining strategic investment traction in the United States, exposure to more institutional investors, more retail investors in the United States, where many of our customers are, but also to be able to have strategic conversations with partners. I think one of the highlights, you know, in our past has been engagements like with CSIC out of Barcelona. In 2019, we highlighted the work of a team in Spain, in Barcelona, in particular around a smart patch for cystic fibrosis. Now, their work is exceptional, and it's garnered a lot of visibility in Europe and some visibility in the United States. But it's partnerships like that to be able to participate in and bring to the fore for investment, right, in potential high value joint ventures or other types of business ventures that we really see as opportunities. Again, you know, the wearable space, IoT space, it's emerging, right? And it's important for us to partner with people on the front end of developing the other components and the end solutions that can come together with our displays in order to deliver value in the future. And that's really looking to our longer term, the longer term opportunities to potentially be on the US listing. But more importantly, again, to bring more value-added solutions together. So yes, so over time, I think we're going to be sharing more as an organization, and I'll be sharing more about our goals and strategies moving forward as we fulfill our promises.
With the money raised and just with your share price and so forth, are you is there any opportunities for additional M&A activity, or is that not so worried? I don't know, buy some sensors or battery technology or something within the whole ecosystem. Is that a big priority for you guys, or only if something sort of opportunistic comes along?
So that's a great question, Martin. And I'll go back to the beginning of the year and what I mentioned earlier around Yanni Michael Kusisto staying on board to lead our venturing activity. So I think in terms of our strategy and the evolution of that strategy, what we'll be sharing more over the next months around how that short-term strategy, so that's what my focus is being able to deliver a product in market, product market fit, very visible product market fit in the short term, near term. And with Yanni's partnership, being able to scout and find those great 1 + 1 = 3 opportunities around synergistic technologies to deliver value-added solutions.
All right. And going away from the M&A to the sort of spending on operations and so forth, like you're obviously, sounds like we're going to be getting some news in the next little while on some new products or technology, that type of thing. So is it, I would kind of guess at this point, more of your spend is going to go into the sales and marketing, building that out, getting in front of customers and that, or how much new money is going to be going towards R&D? Are you going to be increasing the spend on that a lot, or is it mostly going to go towards sales and marketing?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's a mix. So again, priority number one is getting the product market fit. We have everything we need to deliver a product into market, a display product into market, and that's integrated with a solution. And in terms of the mix that goes into our research and development effort, as you saw, we have a mix of contract manufacturing as well as that high value customer development. So as you can imagine, working with a number of customers across categories, they have different requirements, right? So a fair amount of effort is also going into harmonizing those requirements so that we understand that, you could say this, the highs and the lows of the technical needs and requirements. But another part of that is going to be in balancing that contract manufacturing with the emerging recurring revenue from volume production of displays. So that ability to make that shift, right, we're going to need to use our powder in order to keep ourselves buoyant to make that shift, and that'll play out over time.
All right, just looking at a question here on the Q&A feature. Someone asking about any deals with large multinational companies. Obviously, you can't announce it until you announce it, but is that something we could hope or should hope to hear from you maybe this year, or is that something that would be a longer term type of thing?
That's a great question from Jeremy, and thank you. That is a short term, that is a near term goal, and I'm encouraged by our pipeline, by our development pipeline. We have a number of opportunities that are emerging to share with the public. I will say this: one of the keys here is to unlocking is what I shared before. I can't speak enough about being able to unlock those large customer opportunities through our contract manufacturing partners. These contract manufacturing partners very much, at the end of the day, they're the ones that help bring these solutions together for those end customers. And so being able to work through Almax, work with, in partnership with Almax has been excellent. And we're already seeing some excellent fruits of conversations that we're working on with them. So I think over the next few months, we'll be sharing some more news.
All right. And as well, there was from Jeremy as well, and I'd like to sort of expand on that. Good question. Is your business, is it going to be your printing or creating all these displays yourselves? You talked about out licensing and in licensing. Can you be just selling your ink or sort of your IP platform to, or licensing it out to other people who'll do the printing and the creation of the displays? Or is it going to be kept in-house and you're going to maintain control of that, the whole production process?
Great question, thank you. And that's also a mix, right? It does require this balance. I think in order to distribute a technology, in order to make the market, as I mentioned, we're going to have to work to get that technology into the hands of other partners who can scale the technology. So absolutely, out licensing the production of electrochromic displays is definitely within our short-term roadmap. In terms of the innovation development and the know-how, I would say that that is very much an internal development for us, and where we see a lot of value is being able to continually refine that production process, but also bring in what I'm calling displays plus. So being able to both in-license, but also develop for ourselves, what are those value-added solutions that we can bring not only to that end customer, but also to our contract manufacturing partners as well, for easier integration or better brand fit, or better interactivity or consumer experience, or better, newer or different technological range or adaptability. So again, that's a mix. We have a mix of two things in the short term. Definitely out licensing, and what's kind of beautiful about our technology, just in closing here, what's beautiful about our technology is with a minimum of investment, a print house can run segmented electrochromic displays, the technology that we're practicing. So the investment, though, in equipment, the real investment there is in the know-how and the practice of making it functional and robust for customers. And that's really Ynvisible's expertise, again, in partnership with our partners at Rise University. I can't speak highly enough about that excellent partnership that we have with them.
Could you talk about the competitive landscape out there with, like, you're competing in a sense with LED displays, but other electrochromic companies out there, or maybe there are even some other technologies I'm not aware of. Just talk about the competitive situation in the marketplace.
Yeah, I think thank you, very quickly and very broadly, we are delivering electrochromic displays. So this is, again, organic inks and materials and PET films combined to make thin, flexible displays that can be integrated like labels, quite literally like labels, into end products. Now, in terms of differentiation, that's far different from the incumbent technologies that you see in e-ink. This is electrophoretic ink, and LCD technology. Now, LCD technology it's quite widely distributed. It's probably on the tail end of its own technology cycle, but that's made out of glass and silica, and it's rigid. These two technologies are really driving heavier, more energy-intensive form factors, whereas our technology really can be fit for purpose, but also designed to deliver lower energy, more sustainable, thinner, flexible in terms of being able to bend around a radius solutions for customers. So that's a little bit of the competitive landscape right now. Is there's a lot of incumbent technology in LCD and e-ink, and those technologies are great. They can be deployed for what they're needed for. Our technology, it really unlocks that Internet of everything. Instead of having to rely on very heavy electronics, a lot of energy, a lot of plastic, things that cannot be produced from a printing process in millions of units very cost effectively, is really the niche that our display technology fits. So that's a little bit of the technology landscape. In terms of the centers of excellence, again, we're leaders in practicing this technology right now, but we're by no means slackers. We know that there's a next generation of this technology, and there's probably a very bright PhD or not a PhD practicing the next generation of this technology out there. So it's really incumbent upon us to move very, very quickly to deploy the technology and see it fit in market.
All right. We are at the top of the hour now. We should probably be wrapping things up. Are there any points or things you want to comment on, or areas that we haven't addressed yet to wrap things up?
No, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And thank you to the audience for your excellent questions. We, just to share again, if you have other inquiries, investor-related inquiries, please contact IR@Ynvisible, YNV, Ynvisible.com. That is IR@Ynvisible.com. And just to say thank you again for your time. I'm really happy to be back in the United States, albeit temporarily. I'm heading back to Europe to work with the team and continue our good work there. But please keep an eye out for more news. And yeah, I look forward to sharing more.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us today. It was very informative. Have a great day, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Martin.